evidently himself last night. He's cold. You can't move him.
The people off behind us watching with binoculars and stuff.
Okay, do you know what happened?
No, I don't. His head is back. His eyes are open.
He was murdered. By who? I don't know.
Had his head covered.
His head was covered?
Yeah, he had the blanket up over his face.
What you just heard was the chilling voice of Jonna Pulliam calling 911. The grandmother had just found her 14-year-old grandson, Harley Starling, dead in his bed on, of all days, Halloween morning. As the horrifying details of the case emerge, she learns that this was more than another tragedy, but something far more sinister. It's the night before Halloween 2016 in Springfield, Ohio, and the Starlings are safe at home marathoning a parade of horror movies, such as The Eye and Paranormal Activity. In the room are the Starling brothers, including 16-year-old Nicholas Starling and 14-year-old Harley Starling, along with their grandmother Jonna and her boyfriend Victorino. When the movie marathon is over, the family turns in for the night. But when Jonna wakes up the following morning, she finds Harley's door locked and the boy unresponsive. She calls for him to wake up and unlocks the door, only to find the boy's body is blue and cold to the touch.
Were there any weapons around or anything?
I don't know if he was playing with fake blood or what. There's like the fake blood stuff all over his arm and up around his shoulder.
And you said his eyes are open too?
Yes.
Okay.
I shook him because I was trying to wake him up. His dad just died 2 years ago.
Okay. Are there any guns in the house that you know of?
Yes, but he can't get to them.
Okay. Do you live here with them, or how?
They live with me. They've lived with me since their dad.
And what was?
It was in November.
Did you hear anything weird last night or anything?
No.
Okay.
He just went to bed and that was it.
Jonna was certain Harley had taken his own life, but things weren't quite adding up. Investigators quickly got to work questioning those in the home the night of Harley's death. The interrogations begin with Jonna Pulliam, who took custody of the late Harley and his older brother Nicholas 2 years prior to the incident. Looking back, the boys undoubtedly had a rough upbringing before moving into Jonna's custody. Their father was tragically killed, and their mother was in and out of the home. Jonna sets the scene for detectives, describing the moments that led to her discovering Harley dead in his bed.
We left the room at the same time. Okay. I said, "Good night, I love you." He said, "I love you." And I went in my room, he went in his room.
Okay. And then you heard Nick up a couple times throughout the night?
Yeah, I heard it squeak, the door.
The door squeak?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if the cat wants out, he'll go jump on you.
Okay.
So I got my door shut. They can't jump on me. They can't wake me up. Okay. But they do wake up Nick.
Okay, so Nick will let them up?
Yeah, he'll let them out.
Okay. So then you saw him up, and then...
yeah, that's on the video.
And then you woke up again in the morning at 5?
At 5, I hollered at Nick, and he said, yeah. When I came out and I asked Nick, and Nick was coming out of the bathroom, he said, yes, I'm going to get him up. And he walked over to the door, and he says, Grandma, the door's locked. Usually it's not locked, so...
Okay. So then what happened?
So then I went and got the key,
okay,
and I unlocked the door.
Okay.
She's using a lot of open palm gestures, which can indicate she has nothing to hide. When interpreting what open palms mean in body language, it all depends on the context. It's typical in normal conversation for someone to use a mix of both high confidence, palm down, and low confidence, palm up positions. In this context, Jonna is simply telling her story and is not making any strong declaratory statements. So her frequent and appropriate hand gestures are likely a sign of truthfulness.
But nothing out of their routine seemed odd.
No, just to the fact the door was locked.
Right.
Okay.
And you said you noticed his window was open.
Yeah, Nicholas noticed his window was open.
Nicholas noticed
He said his window was open. I said, was it open? I didn't notice.
Were his curtains closed or were they open?
They're automatically closed. They're just always closed. The people off behind us watching with binoculars and stuff, so I try to always keep curtains up.
Okay.
There was weird people.
Have you had problems with them in the past?
No, just they're peeping toms.
They're just
Okay.
weird.
If you got a curtain off, they're looking.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
And then
I've not been in your house, so I may ask some questions, and you're like, well, yeah,
Okay.
you've
He's
seen
probably
that,
been the
haven't
only
you?
one not in your house
Yeah.
today.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
said you saw Nicholas on the monitor, so I'm assuming you have 2 different monitors?
No, I have one monitor. It has all 4 cameras on it.
Did you see what Nick was doing at all?
He just went to the door and opened the door. I thought it was my funky neighbor asking for money.
Jana's demeanor is a little more upbeat than one would expect for a grandmother who found their young grandson deceased. But everyone handles grief differently. Reflect back to the 911 call, and you'll notice she was fairly calm then, too.
My grandson evidently killed himself last night.
She may not want to break down in front of the detectives, so she laughs and makes jokes in order to cope with the loss.
Well, there's really no easy way to go about this part. The autopsy, they're still working on it, actually, as we speak. Okay? Well, what we do know is that we're not investigating a homicide. Okay, he didn't hurt himself.
The injury that he's sustained could not have been self-inflicted.
What happened?
We're not
We're
entirely
not
sure
sure.
yet. We're still trying to piece everything together. Any reason to think that your boyfriend would do something like this?
No,
How about Nick?
I wouldn't believe that Nick would do it either.
Is it a possibility?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
Notice the immediate and resounding no for the boyfriend. But when she's asked about Nicholas, she uses a qualifier saying, I wouldn't think Nicholas would do it either, indicating that she may be a little uncertain as to his innocence.
He was my baby from 2 weeks old, 3 weeks old.
Okay. How have things been since you got him 2 years ago?
They've had rough in and out,
Okay.
because, their dad dying. And I found out he didn't allow him to have any friends, and Harley was trying to make friends with everybody at school.
Sure.
Now we hear a strain in Jana's voice. This is the first time we've audibly heard Jana express sadness. Remembering what the boys were like when they were younger and the love she felt for them may be triggering her feelings of grief.
I went from trying to figure out why he would kill himself to who would kill him and why.
Mm-hmm.
What would they advance? There's no
It doesn't
advantage to it.
It doesn't make any sense to us either, okay? So that's why we're trying to figure out what the hell happened, because we don't know.
Her grief may be compounded now by feelings of stress or guilt that someone inside the home may have killed Harley. She may be wondering what signs she missed, or if she could have done anything differently to prevent this tragedy. As Jana's heartbreaking confusion echoes, investigators turn their attention to Harley's older brother, Nicholas.
Hi, Nick. How are you? You doing all right? You doing okay?
Not really
Well, I understand that. No.
Immediately, Nicholas clasps his hands under the table. Interlacing your fingers can be a common way to ease feelings of anxiety or stress. The gesture is an example of an adapter, or a method individuals use to comfort themselves. It's comforting because it subconsciously restores a sense of control in what could otherwise be a totally out-of-control situation. And this situation certainly fits the bill.
Okay, so when you went to bed, was anybody else still up?
Well, as far as I can tell, everyone was going to sleep.
Okay.
Well, then about 11:30,
Mm-hmm.
I gone and got the dogs, took them out. And then later, I got back up because I didn't sleep until I got the dogs back in.
Okay.
After I woke up.
Did you leave your door open or closed?
Open.
Open? Okay, so if anybody else was up moving around or anything like that, you would know that. Right? Okay. So you went to bed.
I am kind of heavy.
Okay.
There's a notably long pause before Nicholas answers about his sleep, and it's not just his slow speech. Throughout the interview so far, Nicholas has presented as someone much younger than he actually is. In one instance, he provided unnecessary and excessive detail given the question asked, indicating that he might have trouble understanding the intended meaning of simple questions.
And you have two, they're pretty big dogs, aren't they?
No, one's a little dog. He's a mixture between a beagle and a basset. The
Oh, okay.
biggest dog with the clouded eye is a mixture between chocolate Labrador
Uh-huh.
and a pit bull.
Okay. Okay.
In addition to his monotone speech, his speech is also slow. Nicholas seems to struggle with expressing himself verbally. This may explain his slower delivery, as he could need time to think about what he wants to say, or he may struggle to find the right words. All of these characteristics are typical of individuals with autism spectrum disorder, ASD. We can't make any conclusions about Nicholas's diagnosis based on an interrogation tape, but he displays some behaviors that align with this diagnosis.
I go into their boxes, open their cages, walk to my grandma's door.
Okay, so through grandma's door.
Gone through her room, open the back door, let him out,
Okay.
closed it.
It's important to note that most individuals with autism spectrum disorder do not commit acts of violence and murder. According to research, it's the presence of other conditions, co-occurring disorders, such as personality disorders, mood disorders, or psychosis, that can contribute to a greater risk of violence among individuals with ASD.
Then what's the next thing you remember?
I'm not going to go into details about my dreams.
Your what?
My dreams.
Okay, I'm not worried about your dreams.
Individuals with developmental disabilities often take words, statements, and questions very literally. This can be part of their general struggle with interpreting language and communication. Even though no one asked him, Nicholas wanted to make it clear that he doesn't want to go into details about his dreams. But one thing Nicholas hasn't made clear that his grandmother Jonna did is her genuine interest in what actually happened to Harley. She asked detectives for answers again and again.
I went from trying to figure out why he would kill himself to who would kill him and why. What would they advance?
That isn't the case so far with Nicholas, who hasn't asked at all.
So after everybody else went to bed, you went to bed. Did you actually go to sleep though?
After I was done watching Ghostbusters.
Okay. And once that got over,
Then I turned it off. I turned the TV off, went to my bed, and got
okay. So what time do you think you got to sleep?
I think about 1 something.
So then you go to bed, and then what time do you get up?
Well, I got up about 5 o'clock when my first alarm goes.
Okay, 5 a.m.
I got to take a shower. And then when I got out of the shower, I got to Harley's door.
Okay.
I knocked.
Okay.
I said, Harley, it's time for you to take a bath. He didn't answer.
Notice that his tone changes when discussing Harley. Until now, we've heard a mostly monotone Nicholas. But now, just like that, he sounds almost agitated when he speaks Harley's name.
Okay.
I said, Harley.
He's also not frontally aligned with the detective, meaning he isn't facing her directly. This can indicate a person is being deceptive and/or feels uncomfortable. It's also part of a behavioral profile for deception, along with being slouched, using barriers, and being unnaturally rigid for long periods of time. Each one alone is not definitively meaningful, but it is when you have other indicators.
So when you knocked twice, he didn't answer.
No.
Okay, and then what happened?
Well, after I was done trying to get him out, I told Grandma that he wasn't responding.
Okay, did you go into his room at any time before you woke Grandma up?
No.
Okay.
Well, she moves through a key. She finds the key to his bedroom. She opens it, tells him or says it's time for you to get up, starts to walk away. I tell Grandma that he's not rude for her. She comes in here thinking it's a prank. I see his window open, I shut it.
Just how far open was it?
Like about here.
Okay.
As Harley lays unresponsive, it's strange that his brother would be more concerned with shutting the window.
Was the blanket over his head, not over his head? Was it around his waist? Was it
Over his head.
This is the kind of detail that investigators could see as a signifier of the perpetrator's emotional attachment to the victim, and is almost never done when the killer doesn't know the victim.
How far is your room to his room?
About right more than arm's length.
You share a wall up?
Let's just say this, like, walk in, my bed's all the way. Walk to his room, it's all the way up.
And do you have a window in your room too? Or no?
I keep it locked.
Does he usually sleep with his window open?
Nobody doesn't really lock his window.
This may be true, but given Jana's earlier description of the sketchy neighbors,
They're peeping Toms. If you got a curtain off, they're looking.
it would seem like she would tell them to keep the windows locked. After all, Jana's surveillance setup shows she's clearly concerned with safety.
I have one monitor. It has all four cameras on it. It sits by the bed.
But what could this mean? Well, for one, Nicholas is not so covertly trying to convey to the detectives a theory that an intruder came through Harley's window and killed him. It's also possible that this is another example of his difficulty understanding language and communicating.
So I guess we're asking permission if we could go into your room. We're not looking for anything that may embarrass you, or that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for anything that would be connected to this. And if we don't see anything, then we wouldn't take anything. Okay? Is that okay? Okay. What would you be concerned about us going in and finding?
I haven't really trusted people with that.
I understand that.
Because no one is under arrest for the crime at the moment, searching Nicholas's room without permission could be a potential Fourth Amendment issue. The detective is asking for his permission so she can avoid the delay in needing a warrant, but also to pry for information on just what might be in that room. Notice also that detectives have yet to read Nicholas's Miranda rights, which could come into play later in the case.
Do you have any guns or anything like that they need to be aware of?
Brownwell did give us a baseball bat in case anyone tried to break into it.
Sure. Well, I understand that. Other than that, anything? I mean, is there or something you're concerned about or anything like that?
But I just don't want you to be freaked out about the game I have splat.
The game that has a lot of blood in it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is it okay if we check your room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most people just find that type of game disturbing. Don't be disturbed by my background pictures either.
I'm not even going to look at it. Don't you even worry about it.
I did.
Okay.
Or my music.
These officers were all if I need to take anything they find of evidentiary value. Okay, so that means that they find something specific that would be, would have been used in your brother's death or something like anything like that they'll find in there. What?
Just the bats.
Okay.
I forgot. The pants I wore for trick or treating.
Did the bats cause your brother's death?
No.
Okay. Well then, why were?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Because I didn't hear anyone break my window to get it.
Okay. Well, that would make sense. Okay.
Non-committal answers like, as far as I know, or to the best of my knowledge, can be cues that someone is not being truthful. It's less stressful for a deceptive person to give vague responses rather than flat-out lies. The detectives likely already know by the body and crime scene photos if a bat was used in this crime, or at the very least can tell if the victim was hit with a blunt force instrument.
On Saturday night, I wore these pants and I got fake blood.
Okay. That's easy to test. That's not a big deal.
I kind of got mad and just threw it away.
Okay.
He could be getting sweaty palms as he rubs his hands on his knees while discussing his bloody clothing. The same blood he claimed was fake blood.
Where are those at?
The long pause he takes is another red flag. He seems to be trying to figure out how to answer this question, as the bloody clothes are likely hidden somewhere around the home.
I think they're in the trash.
Okay. Thank you. We'll go back. Okay. Yeah.
I think you might want to fix that home wall too.
Yeah, we had a guy that got kind of angry at us and he broke our wall.
Also strange is Nicholas's concern with the hole in the wall. With the detectives gone, he actually takes a moment to walk across the room and inspect the wall up close, mesmerized by the flaw. Given the circumstance, most people would be solely focused on the murder of their brother, to the point of possibly not noticing such a detail, or not caring enough to mention it. Bringing it up may be a way to alleviate his own feelings of anxiety, as it's a distraction from the intensity of the questioning. He likely feels very out of control in the police interrogation room, and identifying this flaw may give him a brief feeling of confidence. Meanwhile, in another room, detectives have allowed Jonna Pulliam and another family member to sit together and talk.
He was murdered. By who? I don't know. I kind of figured he was murdered because Mom, nothing was making sense. They couldn't find a gun. They have to have a murder weapon. It has to be there.
The fact that this conversation is allowed to happen means detectives have already cleared both of them as suspects. The detectives will also want to see if they can learn anything useful by recording them discussing the crime and the boys. Jonna is visibly distraught and shows a lot of emotion through her words, tone, and body language. In comparison, her relative appears less emotional and is looking at the situation logically, which is how some people handle stress. She may also be trying to stay strong for Jonna and offer her support.
I told Nicholas we may be moving somewhere else because I don't know that I can take coming in there and seeing Harley every day.
While this conversation continues, over in the other room, Nicholas is waiting for another round of interrogation. But he barely moves as he waits for the detectives to return after almost an entire hour, all the while showing what seems to be a complete lack of anxiety. But everything isn't always as it appears. Sometimes what looks like a lack of empathy and indifference could be due to his inability to recognize, manage, and understand his own feelings because of his potential developmental disability.
Hey, Nicholas. You remember me? I'm Detective Jordan. We spoke out there.
Yeah.
Did you guys trick or treat yesterday? Or on Saturday?
Saturday was for pantry.
Interestingly, the detective is in a closed stance as well. You can see his arms in front of his body interlocked in a barrier position. Typically, detectives trying to push towards an honest confession would be in a very different body position, leaning forward with their elbows on their knees, like the other officer.
Your brother, what was he like yesterday?
Like, he was alright.
Was he? Okay.
Like, he wasn't looking down or frowning.
We want to ask you some more questions, more in detail about some of the things that happened yesterday, okay?
Okay.
Before I do, I'm going to advise you of your rights, okay? All right. Once I'm finished reading this, if you have any questions, just let me know, okay?
The detectives Mirandize Nicholas as they're about to turn the heat up and confront him about his previous statements. They will begin to ask him tougher, more direct, and accusatory questions to finally uncover the truth about what happened to Harley. Notice also he hasn't been Mirandized till now, later in the interview process. In the beginning, Nicholas wasn't given Miranda warnings, but it's considered undisputed that he made no inculpatory statements in that window, and he did consent to detectives searching his bedroom and cell phone after all.
You guys are hanging out and you're watching movies. Everything good? You guys getting along okay yesterday? You're not upset with each other? Did you guys get in a fight about anything?
We didn't really argue.
Okay. Were you mad at each other?
No, but dares.
Yeah. What did you guys argue about?
Who could get the last piece of chocolate cookies? And also stuff like who would play out who's assistant with the other person.
You say you were upset with each other over just the candy thing at first?
It wasn't that upsetting.
Did you guys argue about it?
A little bit.
Why, did he get more candy than you did?
No, our government gave us one of those boxes to have the marshmallow cherries in it.
Did he eat the majority of those?
Yeah, he ate the majority of them. Our government gave us a share.
She gave to you to share, but he ate all of them.
No, I ate 2, he ate 3. The last one was the one we had. Tonight you go on. It didn't last very long.
Okay, but you just didn't want him to have it. I mean, why did you guys argue? What was said when you were arguing?
Not much.
Nicholas's response is vague and evasive. He may not want to admit how serious the argument was, as that could portray him in a negative light. The detectives want to see if things might have escalated into something more, as this seems too minor to have motivated Nicholas's anger.
Where do you let the cat out?
In the front door.
The front door. Do you keep the cats in your room at night? Your bedroom at night, or they just roam through the house?
They just roam through the house.
You tried to string around the cat's neck. I'm just curious why a cat had a string around its neck. Did you do that?
No.
Who did?
I don't know.
You don't know, you didn't see that? Did Mittens have a string around its neck when you let it outside?
No, she didn't.
She didn't? Okay. Or do you usually stay up late? Do you go to sleep quickly, or do you stay up late?
The only days I ever stay up late is when I get sad.
When you're sad? Were you sad last night?
Yeah, but I got over it.
What were you sad about? You mind telling me?
I was hanging, getting close to November, and that's the unfortunate that.
A mention of being sad and staying up late could mean Nicholas struggles with sleep disturbances when he's sad. His father's death may have triggered issues, possibly with depression, grief, and loss.
Nicholas?
Yeah.
Obviously you know what happened to your brother, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's no longer here. We're trying to figure out what happened to your brother, okay? I think you may know some things that may help us here.
The detectives really start to key in here and begin the first step in the process of the Reid technique, a positive confrontation. The detective is going about this less aggressively than is normally seen because Nicholas is young and he doesn't want to be seen as coercive or too aggressive with him. Detectives have to be extra careful when using the Reid technique on minors or people with mental illness or disabilities to avoid any accusations of being coercive. Nicholas may qualify as someone who's more vulnerable given his age and possible cognitive delays.
We need you to be honest with us about some things.
Like what?
Well, about what might have happened there last night.
Through a great deal of this intense questioning, Nicholas makes unwavering eye contact and remains very still as the detective questions his story. While many people mistakenly think that sustained eye contact is a sign of honesty, it's normal for eyes to move around a bit when talking. Sustained eye contact is actually a red flag for deception as they're trying to check and see if they're believed. This level of sustained eye contact isn't typical for an individual on the spectrum, as this would usually be notably stressful for someone with ASD. This may cast some doubt on that possible diagnosis.
Now, you know that your grandmother has surveillance at the house, right?
Right.
And we're viewing that as we speak. Is the story that you're giving me going to line up with what we see in that video? Or is there some other things that maybe we should know?
This is what is known as the bait question in the Reid technique. If someone is being honest, they'll likely provide a strong denial at this point, but someone who's being deceptive may answer vaguely.
Did you ever go outside for anything last night?
No.
What happened? What if I told you we found a ball bat out behind the house?
Why couldn't you hear this?
Before the interview began, officers were spotted by a local news crew collecting a baseball bat from the side of the home.
You want to explain to me why that might be there?
I don't exactly know why I pulled that would be.
You put it there?
No.
Did you put it there?
Yes.
We found some jeans with some blood in the house. Are those your jeans?
No.
Did you change your pants last night?
No.
Did someone belong to your room?
No.
You'll remember, Nicholas previously stated that he had pants with fake blood on them.
You were upset with your brother over something. You guys got into it. I understand that. Brothers fight. I used to fight with my brother all the time. You're not being completely honest with me.
Yes, I am.
I don't think that you are. Somebody beat him there really bad. He beat his head. I was very, very angry at him. That crack split open the skull.
Nicholas appears to be indifferent and doesn't show any visible distress at hearing that his brother's head was beat in. While it's possible that he has difficulty expressing feelings the way the average person would, this response can be seen as a red flag that he's trying to hide or control his reaction to this news.
Kind of like what happens on that video you were talking about earlier.
How does that make you feel like what happened?
Awesome videos up. They use cinder blocks, all kinds of stuff.
Just because I play a violent video game doesn't mean I'm a person.
You're right.
This is what is called a resume response, in this case making a broad statement about his character instead of really answering the detective's question, another red flag. Also note the sudden change in his tone. It's an unexpected twist that Nicholas starts asking the other detective questions about the video game, because until this point, Nicholas presents as naive, innocent, childlike, and compliant. Now, though, he's being rather bold as he challenges the detective's comments.
Nicholas, I can tell that you're not being honest. Everything about you and your body language tells us that you're not being honest. And for sure it doesn't match up. Okay? Hey, we just want to know the truth about what happened so we can solve this for your grandma and your family. Okay?
The cat I found with my head.
What? The cat mittens, was that it? That had the string around his neck?
I actually did that because I found out she did some of this stuff under my desk like my games.
Just 10 minutes earlier, Nicholas denied the incident with the cat.
Who did that? I mean, you're not in trouble if you're tired. I'm just curious why a cat had a string around his neck. Did you do that?
No.
Who did?
I don't know.
But why confess? Why change directions now? It's possible Nicholas changed his story in the hopes this lie will explain why the detectives are sensing he's not being honest, and will somehow explain his inconsistencies.
Think she choked Mitten with the string because she was mad at her?
That's what wrong.
Animal abuse is obviously a huge red flag of serious conduct issues among children and teens. Sometimes if this behavior is recognized early enough and the child receives help, it can possibly prevent tragedy later on. It's also a possibility that Nicholas developed issues with anger and sadness after the death of his father, and then began displaying behaviors like cruelty to animals.
But you understand that in watching that video, you're the only one moving around that house. Nobody else is there. This is what I think. You want to know my opinion? What? I think you went in there, you were pissed at him and killed him, and then you went back and forth between the bathroom, cleaned yourself up, and changed your clothes. Those bloody pants we found were yours. You were wearing them, and wearing them. That's got your brother's blood on it, and you took them off so nobody would find it.
By not moving and closing himself off, Nicholas may be hoping that he can avoid calling any more attention to himself, and his positioning shows he likely feels defeated, knowing his lies and cover-up aren't enough.
But I want to ask you this question. Why? What would make you so mad? What did you do that would make you so mad that you want to do that? I didn't tell him. They did. We can't help you if you don't help us. Because if you don't tell us, then we'll never have the true story. But I know that you did. You did that to me. But why did you do it to me?
Yes, you always did.
I was a true story, correct?
I was pick something.
How does he pick up?
I was going to stick with the steps. Sure, he would buy things 50 times. I always get scared.
So did you hit him in the head while he was sleeping? Did he know you were coming? He was asleep, or was he awake? And you just took that back and hit him over the head? Alright.
Yes.
How many times did you hit him in the head? What was the answer? Okay.
By admitting that Harley was asleep when he hit him with a bat, any possible self-defense claim is removed from the equation.
Did you stab him with something in the neck?
Well, after then, he started with 7.
Were you trying to help him die faster so he would suffer?
I tried to make him be quiet.
The detective offers Nicholas the justification that he might have stabbed Harley to put his brother out of his misery. This is another part of the Reed technique, gradually increasing the suspect's comfort while not unveiling what really happened.
How many times did you stab him?
I think around 2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times. But you hit him in the head with that ball bat 14 or 15 times?
Yeah.
And then you went outside. What did you do with the bat?
He just dropped there.
Did you walk outside? Did you walk out your mom or your grandmother's bedroom and then sit over the fence, or did you close the front door?
I got out his window.
You climbed out his window. Was that why the window was open?
Yes.
Did you lock his bedroom door when you leave that open?
Yes.
Then did you go to your room and go to sleep, or have you slept at all?
I got to sleep.
Remember I was saying before how sometimes we all do things and we don't take time to think about it, we regret it, it's over with. Were you just that bad at it for some of the stuff that you've done to you? You think that watching those video games convinced you to do something like that? Did it make you angry playing those games, listening to that music and that? No? You were just mad at your brother.
It's hard to imagine someone being able to sleep after committing such a gruesome crime against their own brother, whose dead body is also sitting in the adjacent room. But if Nicholas has no history of violence, it's likely that there was more going on aside from him being just mad.
You were kind of upset you got in there? How long did you stand in there before you decided to grab the bat and hit him? About 6 minutes. Standing in there watching him?
It's possible that Nicholas may have felt very powerful watching Harley lay defenseless in his bed. His confidence may have built up the longer he stood in his brother's room, realizing he had the power now, and Harley's life was in his hands. Premeditation and/or lying in wait is one of the elements that can be used to charge someone with first-degree murder.
You did a lot of walking around there after your mom or your grandmother went to bed. You guys were told to go to bed, even before you let the dogs out. You're doing a lot of walking around there. What were you doing? Were you thinking about doing something then? Or just waiting for them to go to sleep? I was hurting them a little. How did you plan on hurting them a little? What were you going to do? I was going to do like something bad.
As the confession develops, officers shift focus onto clarifying the whereabouts of all the weapons involved.
Hey, we were trying to figure out the knife, okay? Because you told me that after you stabbed him, you went into the bathroom and you washed the knife off, right? Okay. So then you come back and you said after you cleaned it off, did you put it back in here, or did you go take it and put it directly into your bag?
The story comes out clearly, and detectives have most of what they need.
Okay, we're working on paperwork right now. Okay. You're going to be under arrest after this. We're going to take you over to jail. We need fingerprints and photos, just like you see on TV, and then we're going to take you over to the juvenile home. Now, just talk to your grandmother, or should we just talk to your grandmother and granny? They're not mad for her, okay? For a number of reasons right now. They want to see you. Are you okay with that? Yes.
Well, it's completely up to you, okay? If you don't want to see them, we'll tell them that. If you want to see them, then we'll tell them that. You're okay with seeing them? Okay.
As he is once again fidgeting with his hands, likely an effort to reduce his feelings of stress, Nicholas may not have considered what his family was going through, as he has been so focused on himself.
I don't know what to do for him. I will do what I can. I don't know why you felt so that's your brother. You call me.
A somber and tragic scene unfolds as Nicholas gets the opportunity to see his family. It's likely that detectives are allowing Nicholas to see his family for his family's benefit, not necessarily for him. The police will try to accommodate the victims if they can, especially when they endured such a horrible tragedy. It's clear by the way Jonna comforts her grandson that she loves him despite his horrific actions. She's been put into a very difficult situation, yet she's demonstrating a lot of strength in her willingness to stand by Nicholas. This is his first show of emotion, possibly because seeing and hugging his family has allowed reality to sink in. The staff brings him some food, but when he starts to open the bag, he breaks down. Not only is reality sinking in, but now it seems it's crashing down on his shoulders. Oftentimes, murder suspects will break down emotionally when they're handed consequences, when they know they'll be suffering. In this case, Nicholas broke down emotionally at seeing his family, which is an indication that it's not the consequences he's upset about, but understanding the reality of what he's done and how it's affecting others. Still, the consequences would turn out to be severe. At first, when Nicholas received charges of aggravated murder and tampering with evidence, he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Defense lawyers also initially argued his case should be dismissed as a result of his young age. But ultimately, the case was moved from juvenile court to adult court. The judge made the move as a result of the severity of the crime. Prosecutors called the case the worst involving child-on-child crime they had ever seen. Although the Halloween candy mentioned in the interrogation tape seemed to be the core of the argument that sparked the chilling crime, police never did find a clear motive. At 17, Nicholas Starling changed his plea to guilty. He was convicted of killing his brother and was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. This is a more recent look at Nicholas, years after his sentencing. He'll have to wait until 2031 for a chance at parole, but until then, he'll continue to live out his days behind bars at the Lebanon Correctional Institution in Lebanon.